I'm Lance with Brandow Consulting, inventory software expert since 2006. And in this video, I'm pulling in Josh, our QuickBooks expert, to team up to do an interview type style demo. Hope you like it. Should be interesting. We're going to create a sales order, create a work order, and create a purchase order. The next video, we're going to fulfill the purchase order, fulfill the work order, and fulfill the sales order. Sounds simple, but we're going to show you how to use some of the automation tools to create the work order and create the purchase order. I hope you enjoy. So Josh, I like to do demos in kind of a horseshoe pattern. So create a sales order, create a work order, create a purchase order, receive the purchase order, complete the work order, and fulfill the sales order. Kind of create demand and then fulfill demand. So let's start out by going to the sales order screen. And let's create a sales order. I know there's a ability in QuickBooks to import sales orders from different e-commerce platforms, but just show us how to manually create a sales order. Could take us a couple minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a sales order. We put the customer here. You have your different templates here. This is a sample file, so it's choosing a date in 25. This is a sequence. It just picks the next one in the next number in sequence. If there's a PO for this, which we don't have yet, because as you said, we're going to do that afterwards, that would go in here. So right here, we can just put in an item.
Wait, we're going to do what afterwards?
If a customer gave us a PO first, and we were following their order, then we would put it in here, and then we would produce a sales order to match it. If we're doing a sales order first, and then afterwards we're going to create a PO from the vendor. I mean, at this point, do we know what the customer? Well, actually, we would know, right?
Yeah, we couldn't put in a sales order unless we received
let's just do
paper purchase order from the
customer. That's right.
So
when you said the PO next, you meant the vendor PO. So the customer PO is here.
Absolutely. So that's a good point. So we begin by the customer giving us their purchase order. The customer's purchase order is our sales order. And so you're saying this field right here is where they would put the customer's purchase order number.
Yes. So you can always use that as a reference.
So yeah, let's pretend like we've got the customer's paper purchase order in our hand and we're entering the sales order.
All right. What would you like to sell, Peacock Home Builders?
Well, I'll let you decide. Whatever.
All right. Let's just choose something like this here. We have something there. It's popping up saying there's not enough quantity. We have 37. There's already reserved for assemblies. Now remember, this is a sample file, so we're kind of coming in the middle, but it is giving you a warning that at this point, we don't have it available, which is okay. It's a sales order. We're not filling it right now. We're just creating that demand. So we can choose what we want here. Quantity, right now it's in each. Classes are a way just to kind of keep track of different sort of either items, or it's something that's a little more advanced, but it's available there. So right here,
what I found is class is a way to keep track of where the cell is coming from. I think that's what most people use class tracking for, right?
It's possible because you know it's
did it come from this
the channel
effort, this what sales channel did it come from?
Yeah, so, that's a good one. That's a very good one. That's a very good.
Yes.
Right. If the company themselves is like only from a certain class, like they're an e-commerce customer or they're someone else, you could just create a customer type for Peacock Home Builders, which says e-commerce customer. And then that would be, you can use it like that, but it would kind of be redundant because you can always run reports by customer type. Now, if you have customers that are in both, or a lot of people use classes for states. Like they need to know for tax purposes and they want to know, or not tax purposes even, they want to know for reps. They have sales reps in certain regions so they want to do taxes. Of course, you can get that out of...
Let's not dive into the rabbit hole of classes.
Okay, good.
Do this high level. So one question I have is estimates. Does QuickBooks have the ability to create estimates, convert an estimate? I know it does.
Yeah.
Can we Can
we
we
could
look at
just,
that too?
yeah, so we do the same thing, and instead of a new transaction sales order, we just start one earlier with estimate. And at this point, it's calling it a quote. You know, you can change what way this looks. Um, at this point, there's nothing that they're requesting. It's just we're sending them a quote. We can do the same, you know, same item. I think it goes this. No, there's something else, but okay, we'll do a couple of these over here. And we have our total, and we can save it. We could print a preview, and you can see here that this, oops, this here looks at the quote, and this is what it would
Nice.
look like.
And then I saw some buttons in the middle of the top of the screen that says
Mhm.
create sales order. So I
Exactly,
think we could
exactly.
convert this to a
Right,
sales order. Okay.
right. So at this point, we're going to save it. And then now if they go, yes, we do want that, we can go to create sales order. And there's a little warning that says estimate has been copied to the sales order. You can edit the sales order, you know, and now we've gone to where we just were, literally. And
It's
we have the same
interesting.
thing.
Sorry to interrupt, but it's
Okay.
interesting that the estimate screen had a button that said create purchase order. I don't, that's interesting to me. And I understand why there would be a button there on the sales order screen to create purchase order from the sales order screen. But that's kind of interesting that from the estimate screen, there's also a create purchase order button.
I guess, yeah, that's a good point. I think a lot of these are kind of, I noticed a lot of the buttons that QuickBooks creates, they're kind of hard programmed into certain areas, and they don't necessarily disappear, even maybe not necessary. So there will be times when you'll have reports which really are not relevant at all with certain columns, but since the columns were built that way, they'll still show up even though, you know, they'll be empty or the balance won't make any sense because it's not really a balance. So there's cases like that. So you can't look at everything like it's extremely thought out, like, oh, this create purchase orders here, we have to do it from here. It might just be that it's always here, and but it does make more sense to do a purchase order from the
It is
estimate.
it is interesting to see that there's no button there that says create work order. That's the next interest of mine that I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen purchase orders and sales orders a lot in QuickBooks. The work order side of things, the manufacturing side of things, I haven't seen a whole lot. So could you show us the
Well,
manufacturing side
mm-hmm.
of QuickBooks?
Well,
What does QuickBooks have for work orders?
at this point, we haven't actually built anything yet. We don't have put anything on here that needs to be built.
I
Inventory
see.
assembly is a buildable item. So if we go here and then it says not enough, at this point, um, let's see here. I'm getting warnings about negative inventory, which is a good thing to put on.
Okay.
At this point, yeah, there's still no button here that says create work order, but I believe work orders would be over build assemblies. So it would be over here.
Okay.
You have that. So at this point, we have the 1500 PM. So we would choose 1500 PM, and we could see this is what goes into it right here. You know, quantity needed. We can put one. Let's say we're doing one of them, and it'll show you what we have and all those stuff. So it doesn't. There are reports that you can use, like by going to the inventory center and going to 1500 PM. Let's see here. 1500 PM, we can see that we have -5 on hand. We have on sales orders. We have reserved for assemblies. Maybe because we didn't save that. Let's see if we save that.
Does QuickBooks have any way to automatically create all the build assemblies? I'm going to use the QuickBooks terminology. That's like a report that says, here are all the assemblies you need to build, or a button that you can click to say, oh, I'm going to automatically create all these assemblies for you. So you can, does it have anything like that?
Not that I know of. I'd have to do a
Okay.
little research on that, but I think that is
So you run
something.
a report to see what your demand is, or maybe you know what your demand is straight from the sales order, and then go create a build assembly.
Right. And
Okay.
so I mean, you can. There's a lot of reports here, so we can go to inventory and go to you know, pending builds, assembly shortage by item. So you can do, this is the assembly, which is what we're talking about here. So we can show you that right here we have, these are the items that if we wanted to build them, we don't have enough for them because they have assemblies that are actually that are actually due, and we don't have them available. So at this point, you could create, and there is a create auto POs up here. You see that? So there is one
Okay.
that will allow you to do that. Say, okay, you want to create for each one of these? How much do you want to order? So yes, it's not as linear with like, yes, go here, go here, go here, but there are reports which can pull up and then get you to where you need quantities on PO. How much do you want to order? 3, we have -8. Reorder points 100, so we have to order, at least. So it kind of takes you through here, and then you could, just check off the ones that you want. And this one's probably going to come up as an error because you have to have
Okay. Now,
your.
I think I've seen this before,
Mhm.
but remind me, correct me if I'm wrong. Does QuickBooks have reorder points so you can order up to a certain level, or it'll give
Yes.
some sort of alert to say, hey, it's below this level, it's time to order, instead of waiting until your demand exceeds your supply.
So all your items are handled in the item list over here. You also
Okay.
have them in the item list in your inventory center, of course. Um, so if you go here to any item and double click on it, we can see here all the information of it. And you can put notes in here. You can even have custom fields that pop up. So here they have certain things that they, inspected, all kinds of stuff. But here's the regular. So here's how we purchase it. Here's how we sell it. This is a regular inventory part.
There it
We have
is.
55 on hand,
Yeah, the
and
bottom
there's our
left hand of
reorder
the
point.
screen.
Right,
Reorder
25
point, parentheses, min. Oh, interesting. So they're calling a reorder point a min.
minimum reorder.
And then max.
The
Okay.
max that you want to have, and so it's using that.
So we've created a sales order. We've created a work order.
While we're here, I
Well,
just
I
want to
shouldn't
look
call it
very
a work order.
quickly.
It's called a build assembly. We've
It's
created
called
a
a build
build
assembly.
assembly.
And this is where the assemblies are controlled. They're controlled in the item itself. So this is the same thing, like you can buy this 1000 MC, even though it's an inventory assembly. But if you want to build it, you can also build it. And here's the bill of materials. So you have labor, this is how much goes for each quantity. And then you have them right here, total bill of material cost. And so every time you want to create it, it's using information that's updated here that can be updated here.
And then after they create a build assembly, can we add it? Let's go back to that build assembly that you
Sure.
had fully on the screen. It was where was
Okay.
it?
Here, build
There we
assembly
go.
right there.
Yeah, so this build assembly, how many are we building? Does it say
Quantity to build. So you have that right
build
there.
one?
It will tell you on top how much are reserved for other assemblies. Quantity on sales order, quantity on hand, quantity available. So like if we maximum number you can build from the quantity on hand is 7.25. So let's say we were going to be doing
Nice.
7. Yeah, just give you a little.
So I call that virtual availability or available to build. That's a
right.
nice feature.
Yes. And that's it. It doesn't have like extensive stages through this where you're like getting it ready for build, you're picking or anything. It's literally not built yet. And if I hit and build, it's built. That's it. So there's really you kind of, if you want to do more stages, you have to kind of do them on your own, like do them by hand, like print them or stuff like that, because otherwise.
Does it have a planned quantity to consume? And maybe I'm jumping ahead. Maybe we should cover this when we actually close out the work order. I am jumping ahead. Let's just create the work order at this point.
Okay.
And for demo purposes, instead of putting 7, let's actually put 22, because it says
Okay.
that's how many we need to enter to fulfill our sales order demand. That's how much we should build. So let's do 22 and go on to the purchase order.
So we have the warning.
And look at the purchasing tools.
QuickBooks does not have enough components on hand to build 22. You can either reduce the number, see a shortage report to find what it takes to build this many, or you can proceed with this build and mark it as pending. When you have enough components to build, you can then mark this build as final. And you can do that right here. You can show the shortage, which will pull up the report that we were looking at, or well, it was similar actually. Yeah, so this is the shortage report. Shows us what we need on PO, and then we have the create auto POs here.
Okay. We ready to look at the PO and create
Sure.
PO creation?
So we can actually do that right here, right? What we just did. So if we try to build it, build and close, we're getting that warning. Let's show the shortage. Let's create auto POs. And so this is what's coming up. These are our items. These are our reorder points. This is what we have available. This is what we have on the POs already. And this is what we need to order. So we can just select all. It's actually going to create.
So one way to create a purchase order is to just buy the shortage from one build assembly.
Yes.
What if we wanted to purchase from the shortages created from multiple build assemblies and multiple sales orders? Like, what if we wanted to say, hey, system, look at all of my open build assemblies, all of my open sales orders,
Sure.
all of my reorder points, and my supply and demand and quantities on hand. Look at all of that and tell me what I should buy.
Right. So at this point, we're looking at shortage. Like yeah. So we're looking at the shortage report for 22 of 1500 PM.
Which is the build assembly we just created.
That we're looking at, right.
Yeah.
Which means that all it did was it pulled out a filter and it said, what are we trying to look for? And it's already putting in that it's looking for multiple items, and it has 1500 PM there. If you wanted to do all of them, you can literally just go all, hit OK, and then let's see, refresh. There must be another filter in there. We can also just go to our inventory and go to assembly shortage by item right there, and that will show everything that we're short on. And so this looks like everything here.
So that's and assembly shortage by item. So it seems like it's only looking at the items that we're short on for assemblies. What about items that we're short on for sales orders? Just pass through.
Oh, regular. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, you can look at inventory.
Is there a report that combines the two so we get all of our shortages in the entire system?
Let's take a look at that. So here we have inventory stock status. This has everything. So it'll have our inventory. It'll have our reorder points. It'll have, what we need for assemblies. So these are regular items, but it does separate them by category. At the bottom, we see our assemblies.
Okay.
So you do see them on one page, but it separates them. And this is showing right here.
Leaning in, looking close at this report.
Oh, I can try to make this. Can I make it bigger?
No, that's okay. So we've got on hand, on sales order, we've got our min, our max, our reorder point, our max, which they say in parentheses is min. On sales order, 4 assemblies, available unit measure, on PO, so that's nice, what's already on PO. Then reorder quantity, nice. So it says what it's recommending to order based on all those numbers. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah.
And there's your sales, like it's giving you your sales numbers, so you can predict. So you can predict what it's like a forecasting.
Is that like the estimates that are in the system?
This is based on your previous 1.4 of these sell per week. So how much are you going to buy right now? To kind of get an idea of, it's just giving you an idea of like your reorder quantity. Is it on point or not?
Powerful.
Maybe it's time to update that. Now, one cool thing is that everything in these reports is just pulled up a customized report. If we want to, I can go to customized report and say, I don't want what they've given me. I would like some more information, and you have all of these columns available. Or I can say, I'd like to see the average cost on this. And then you click OK, and it adds average cost to all of these.
QuickBooks reports are really user friendly.
That's alternate vendors.
Yeah.
You can even add all of them, and it's going to get very big on the page, and you can run filters. But what's cool is that you can always say, let's just take this to Excel and hit create new worksheet. And it's going to say, okay, what do you want it to look like? You can do a CSV. And then let's just say test. And let's go on the desktop. And let me find that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then desktop, where did that go? Oh,
nice desktop backdrop.
Oh, thank you.
I see the guitars in the background and the Metallica symbol on the desktop.
Yep, I'm a fan. I know I don't look it, but I'm definitely yeah, love Metallica. 30 years of the Black Album, so we're celebrating. Okay, here we go. So test invoice CSV. I'm opening this up, and I'll put this on our screen now.
So cool.
Okay, so this is
Yeah.
what it comes up with. So right
Export
now,
to Excel. Okay.
yeah, and now I have all my columns that I want, and I can start writing, searches on them, whatever it is, any kind of things that I would like to do, more customized reports. You have that option here. And remember, there's a lot of other columns that we could have done, we could have added. You can just add all of them and say, just send it to Excel. Let me just ignore what I don't need, make use of what I do. So it's a nice tool.
Cool. Okay, so I'm excited about this next step. We
Okay.
see the column that's like fourth from the right that's called reorder quantity. So I
Right.
imagine that's what QuickBooks is going to put on purchase orders if you click that create auto PO button.
Okay, so we'll make sure that add that one. We don't have to do all of them. Let's do let's stick to Anderson's. Actually, Kaler, we want that
So
one.
what are we looking at here? What are we looking at? I don't understand why that report was so long, and then all of a sudden we have this really short list of parts.
Because not everything was short, or some of them were. Those were giving
Okay.
us everything. So that
Okay.
was looking at everything that you have in stock completely. So this
I
is
see
on
this
hand.
report has a lot of zeros on it under the
Right.
reorder quantity column. Okay.
Well, as reorder quantity, there's also, we have available, we're not short. You can say use available quantity to order, to reorder. So instead of looking at your actual, so that you know what you're doing, you can hide zero quantity on hand. So it's shorter. So it doesn't show just a list of all your items. This company that we're looking at doesn't have a lot, but you might have thousands. So you could do things like that. You can also sort by specific columns, so you can show and that's where the filter comes in as well. You can also filter and say, just show me the ones that are short, and
Okay.
that would be over here and customize, filter, and then you can kind of go through that where, okay, what is the posting status? What is the, the dates you can do, all items. You want to do zero quantity on hand is being hidden because of that, what we just clicked up there. So you can see those filters, some of them are built into it, but there's a lot more available over here as well.
Okay. Can we go back to the
Mhm.
recommended, that other screen right here? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So now what's next? What's the next step? I see a button
So,
down there that says create PO.
okay. So
One
let's do
question,
that.
actually.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I don't mean to
Sure.
get encourage clicking and then go back and forth. One question I had is some vendors have a minimum order requirement.
Right.
Does this factor that in at all, or do we just need to know that and remember that?
Yes, I believe it does. We
Okay.
can take a look at that. Yeah, it should be doing that. So let's hit create POs.
Okay.
And it shows you this is what was just created, auto created. And so we can
Created
see
3
here.
POs.
Right.
So I expected more POs than that.
Well, I only checked 3 of them. I didn't want to overload. I knew we weren't going to be able to go through all of them. I could go through all of them if you'd like.
Yeah, let's create them all.
Okay.
So we need to buy them all. We're short on all of them. If
Right. So create auto POs.
Yeah.
So these are the remainder. Well, we have to just put in an event. It's probably going to tell us, so we need to put it.
So that is nice that you can actually put a vendor there for the items that don't currently have a vendor. We can say, oh, let's buy this from this vendor, this from this vendor.
So I can just say,
I imagine it doesn't have a vendor because we haven't assigned the part to a default vendor, or a preferred vendor, is I think the language QuickBooks uses.
Right. If we look at DRPE under our item list and go to DRPE, oops, did that even DR? I'm frozen. PE and search. We have that right there. Now again, we can customize these columns to show everything that we would want to see. Like if there's a vendor, if there's a default vendor, I don't see it, so it's probably here. Default vendor, was it D? Preferred vendor, that's where it is. preferred vendor. So I'm going to just add that here. I can move it up, and then I can say, all right, let's just put it right there. Okay, there's my preferred vendor. So as we can see, where did that go? Oh, here, there's nothing in there. Also, you can just, that's a way to see everything, but you can really quickly double click and then see, oh, we don't have a preferred vendor. So at this point, if I change this, hit OK, now we can go back. Oops. So there, yeah, so now, now that's that.
All right, so we're going to
POs.
decide a vendor and then click.
Now I can create POs.
All right.
And it's like 6 to be created. Oh, I think I have to, yeah, there we go. So these are the ones that were just created. If I go to my POs, which is going to be under vendors, vendor center, I can then just look at my purchase orders. These are all my purchase orders. I'm going to look at purchased created today. And here we have all of them that were just created.
I love this feature because I think one important feature for an inventory software to have, where obviously this is an accounting software, but we're looking at the inventory side of it. An important feature for it to have is purchasing. You know, we want to leverage the automation of the software to help us with our procurement and decide what to purchase, who to purchase it from, how much to purchase. So I see it's got delivery dates. That's nice. I don't know how it came up with those delivery dates. It looks like it's just
defaulting. Looks like it's defaulting to the one, but you can.
This is a sample file, so
yeah,
I don't know what the date is on the sample file.
Now, this typically you'd be looking at vendors. Most people use this, where if you go to Deborah, like she was one, you can sort by balance. So that would be a way to find and go, okay, well, let's see all the ones. Well, actually, we don't have a balance yet with Deborah because it's just purchase orders. But if we look in here and we go, okay, we can sort by type and see there's a purchase order at the top. You can also say, I just want to see purchase orders, and then we'll see the one that we created today. What I like about going to transactions is you can just say, I don't care who the vendor is, just show me everybody we have purchase orders for. You can do open purchase orders, all today, this year, item receipts, you have all the things like that. So you notice that everybody's there. I like this a lot. And then a cool thing you can do is you can also just run a report of whatever you see on the screen, and then you see that there, and then of course you can send that to Excel. So if you have like thousands of lines, you want to look at all of your sales for the year, and you're looking at reports and whatever else it is, you want to look at all your bills, you can kind of get a really good view right here, and then see, yes, okay, this is kind of what I'm looking for.
And I think you said the key thing just now is view, visibility. That's what we're talking about right now. That's another value of software is having the visibility you need of. And as you just demonstrated, QuickBooks has all types of options for visibility.
Yes.
So we've got a bunch of purchase orders in there. It created it, but obviously it did not. And I'd like to make this clear because some people are afraid of this. We created those purchase orders, but it did not email the purchase orders to the vendor. Right. We'll call it semi-automatic. It's not fully automatic. We don't want fully automatic in this case. We do want to go to each purchase order, look at it, and make sure it's correct, send it to the vendor, and manually send it to the vendor ourselves, or maybe we could go through all of them, make sure they're correct, and then does the QuickBooks send forms send purchase orders? I use that all the time for sending invoices, but so we could actually go to file, send forms, and send purchase orders
here. So so what I can do is here, let's see. So what I can do is I can go to my
screens we're closing. It's like screens.
Hitting escape will go through them. But if you go to, I believe there's in our preferences, there's something actually called vendors here under. Let's see here. Oops. No. I'm looking for, there are some windows that can come up, like sales and customers. You can turn on collection center. Okay. And what I'm looking for is that version in the vendor center.
We're almost out of time. I know you have an appointment in about 3 minutes. So in this demonstration, we got through half the demonstration. We did sales order
Right.
creation, build assemblies creation, not work orders,
Right.
purchase order creation, which is cool. We saw a way to automatically create purchase orders, and you also showed us a way to automatically create build assemblies too, right? From that
Right.
report. No, it
Exactly.
didn't. I think
You see
creating build
assemblies?
assemblies was a little more manual.
It's manual,
Maybe
yeah.
we
You
can
just
dive into that a little bit more on another
sure,
video where we're just focusing on build assemblies. But
sure.
just
Yeah.
for my own selfish curiosity, could you go to the
Mhm.
top left-hand corner and click File
Sure.
and then Send Forms?
Ah, okay. Yes.
Just
So,
curious to see if
send
these
forms is
purchase
going to be
orders. Okay, so it's
they
don't.
would
Okay,
no
they
they would
would.
be there. It's because
Okay,
it's a setting that says to be emailed later. So if right here, right now, it's not automatically creating that. It has print
okay.
later. It doesn't have email later. If I change that and save and close, and then it's asking right now for the email. Let's just say it's jo at
Gotcha. Gonna let you email it, or it's not gonna show up on the send forms if there's not an email. And yep, there we go. So send forms, and let's see, there it is. Awesome. So there you go. We had to cut it short there at the end for lack of time, but hopefully you enjoyed seeing how a sales order is created, a work order is created, and a purchase order is created. Next video will show you how to fulfill that purchase order, fulfill that work order, fulfill that sales order. Comment below if you have any questions. Be sure to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this.